Did you know that a confidential court document recently surfaced, revealing a bold new strategy from Lil Durk's legal team to secure his release from jail? The document, which was expected to become public today, outlines a fresh motion filed by Durk's attorneys aiming to get him out from behind bars. At the heart of their argument is a move to dismiss the indictment altogether. The legal team claims that prosecutors misled the grand jury by heavily leaning on lyrics from one of Durk's songs, Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, as central evidence. According to the defense, those lyrics were misrepresented and unfairly used as a smoking gun in the case. Imagine turning on the evening news only to be hit with a jarring scene. Your son, caught on camera, visibly distraught, shouting, "No! No! No!" as chaos unfolds in the background. The moment was raw and haunting. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo was also seen at the scene, overcome with emotion on the sidewalk, a moment that played out in front of cameras just after violence struck in Los Angeles. The incident reportedly involved a member of his entourage, and now authorities are actively searching for 3 individuals linked to the crime. In the legal world, this event rippled further. Attorneys representing Chicago rapper Lil Durk, real name Durk Banks, pointed to this kind of footage, videos captured by bystanders and circulated by influencers on platforms like YouTube and Instagram, as evidence of how online narratives can unfairly shape public perception. In their argument against detaining Mr. Banks, they highlighted the blurred line between what's captured for clicks and what holds weight in court. The content, edited, produced, and quickly uploaded to social media, was shared by individuals, with no direct connection to Mr. Banks. During the initial detention hearing in this case, his defense team challenged a specific claim from the superseding indictment. They questioned the validity of paragraph 6, which draws on lyrics from a song by Babyface Ray, where Mr. Banks is featured on tracks like Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy. To back up their argument, the defense presented a piece of crucial evidence, an attachment showing the original project file for the song. This document revealed that the track had been recorded and completed well before any tragic events, including the passing of someone involved, took place, suggesting that the timing and context of the song's creation had been misunderstood. It's crucial to recognize that prosecutors are relying heavily on content created by YouTubers and Instagram users, with much of the evidence coming from viral clips. One such clip, for instance, features DJ Academics breaking down what he sees as a chilling roadmap of crimes tied to an artist. He maps out events reflected in music titles and album names from the past few years, painting a somber picture. Take a closer look at the timeline. In 2020, the artist's brother passes away. Then in 2022, a tragic retaliatory event happens, and a close family member, or even a cousin, is killed. Fast forward to 2023, and the artist releases an album titled I'm Almost Healed, a name that seems almost poetic in its timing, as though the journey of grief and revenge is woven directly into the music. It's a reflection of life and death, cause and effect, that resonates through his lyrics. It's hard to ignore how surreal the timing is. In 2023, the artist releases I'm Almost Healed, and then, just as that chapter seems to unfold, things take a sharp turn. The situation escalates quickly when prosecutors make an unexpected move, one that could have dire consequences. Big U, Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and others are all swept up in a massive takedown targeting the Rolling 60s gang. But the situation doesn't end there. According to legal experts and sources close to the case, Brick Baby's arrest could potentially be a game changer. Some believe he might flip and provide crucial information about rapper Lil Durk. The timing of both arrests, Brick Baby's gang-related charges, and the ongoing investigation into Durk has left many lawyers suspecting that federal authorities will push Brick Baby to cooperate, perhaps by revealing everything he knows about Durk's involvement. This brings us back to the prosecutors, who continue to use social media and viral content as part of their evidence collection. 3 years ago, Brick Baby unintentionally became a key figure in the investigation against Lil Durk. During a live stream, he made a comment that would later raise eyebrows. "You can't say Durk never slid for Vaughn because they got Lil Pab." At the time, it seemed like just another throwaway remark, but it would come back to haunt him and Durk. Fast forward to when Durk was arrested at midnight, and Brick Baby was once again live streaming. In a twist of fate, he was forced to address that same old interview, reigniting the firestorm he had unwittingly sparked. It created the impression that Brick Baby might have drawn federal attention to Durk's name, as his words were now being linked to criminal investigations. But the question looms, was this a slip of the tongue or something far more serious? Some speculate that the comment was an unintentional hint toward an attempted hit, an insinuation that could have made the feds sit up and take notice. Yet, after that interview, Brick Baby became more cautious, noting that there were certain things you just couldn't say anymore, especially after the tragic loss of FBG Duck. The power of words, it seems, can shape the course of events in ways people often don't anticipate. Cash recently spoke about the looming federal charges in California, a conversation that seems to revolve around the idea that certain things just can't be said anymore. He wasn't the only one caught in a web of potentially dangerous words, though. Brick Baby, too, made a chilling statement that would come back to haunt him and raise the stakes for Lil Durk. In fact, the feds pointed to some of Durk's own lyrics as key evidence. Specifically, they connected phrases from the Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy track to real-world events, including a comment from Brick Baby himself. Brick Baby revealed something unsettling. He claimed that, had Durk asked, he would have handed over the location of Cuando Rondo. His loyalty, he said, ran so deep that he would have dropped the address without hesitation. This kind of talk, whether literal or figurative, didn't just stay in the realm of street code. It became something that the feds could turn into evidence in their investigation. Loyalty in this case could be seen as complicity, and those words, once just a part of street banter, became a dangerous piece of the puzzle. Brick Baby's response to the situation was full of conflicted thoughts, almost as if he was trying to justify his loyalty. When questioned about his actions, he tried to explain, saying that at the end of the day, what's wrong with helping a friend in need? "This is my boy, he lost his," he said, making it sound like a natural reaction in the midst of grief. According to him, if Lil Durk had asked for the location, he would have likely provided it, not because of any sinister intention, but out of loyalty to his friend. He even admitted, 9 times out of 10, if he'd asked me, I probably would have helped him out. Brick Baby seemed to downplay the situation, almost as if it were a hypothetical, suggesting that he wasn't sure if the request had ever even been made. But still, the weight of his words didn't escape scrutiny. As he casually mentioned, "Can I leak a bar? Sure, I'd say if he made the call right now, I'd be up." That one statement, as innocent as it may have seemed to him, has become a critical piece of the puzzle for the feds. Now, with Brick Baby behind bars, the authorities are pressing serious charges, and his loyalty to his friend has landed him in much deeper waters than he may have anticipated. The situation is getting increasingly tense, especially for Brick Baby, whose loyalty may end up being his undoing. The feds are now looking at him as a potential witness against Lil Durk, with the pressure mounting to turn on Durk. While Durk's lawyers argue that the prosecution can't rely on evidence from social media influencers, the reality is the prosecutors are pushing hard to use Brick Baby as a source to bring down Durk. It's a classic strategy: force someone close to a person of interest to turn, and in this case, that's exactly what they're hoping for. Adding another layer to the drama, someone named White came forward, claiming responsibility for Brick Baby's arrest. According to White, he's the one who tipped off the feds about Brick Baby. "I put the feds on Brick Baby," White said, implying that his actions led directly to the federal charges. White didn't stop there. He mentioned how he never expected things to get this far, recalling a time when Brick Baby went to Houston and made a spectacle of himself online, flashing a stack of $10,000. To White, it was a reckless move that caught too much attention, and it would eventually lead to Brick Baby's downfall. The tension escalated when someone made a cryptic remark saying, "I got money on Charleston's head," implying a serious threat. As the situation unfolded, it seemed like the person was actively pursuing Charleston White. In response, Charleston didn't just sit back, he took action. He immediately filed a federal report, reaching out to authorities in Houston to get the ball rolling. But he didn't stop there. He used his connections within law enforcement to make sure the situation was handled properly. Along with filing reports in Houston, he also reached out to the feds in LA, collaborating with the LA County Police. His response was methodical and thorough, showing that he wasn't taking these threats lightly. Charleston White, who has long been outspoken against Lil Durk, didn't mask his satisfaction when Durk was arrested. In fact, he seemed to celebrate it, calling the arrest a victory for the community. It was a victory in his eyes that went beyond just the case at hand. For Charleston, it was personal, and a moment of triumph in his ongoing conflict with Durk. The dark energy that once surrounded the drill music scene seems to be dissipating, as a shift in the narrative begins to take hold. There's a growing sense that the fire fueling the violence behind the genre might finally be extinguished. Many are even beginning to believe that we may never hear drill music the same way again. For some, this represents a win, a victory for law-abiding citizens who appreciate hip-hop but are tired of the deadly violence associated with it. The idea that drill music could be silenced is seen as a step towards separating the art form from the chaos it often glorifies. However, this moment of triumph brings with it an unsettling reality. The fight against Lil Durk is far from over. The latest update reveals a staggering amount of digital evidence stacked against him, over 230 gigabytes of data, including audio and video recordings, surveillance footage, and a mountain of 20,000 pages of documents. It's a massive trove of evidence that the authorities are now working through, and it signals that the forces working against Durk are much larger and more organized than initially anticipated. Reports are still being processed as part of the discovery phase, but the details coming to light are troubling. Allegedly, a member of F, known as Jam, is the one who provided the authorities with crucial evidence. A recent court update revealed that the feds believe Lil Durk may have been involved in orchestrating the harm done to two individuals. First, Stefan Mack, who was linked to the death of Durk's brother Dethang, and second, Jam's baby mother, who tragically passed away after Durk allegedly discovered that she had been wearing a wire. According to the feds, Jam is seen as the key figure, who could potentially connect Durk to all three of these incidents. The case hinges on evidence from a revealing moment during an Instagram livestream, where Durk allegedly noticed Jam wearing a wire. This observation could prove to be a critical piece of the puzzle as the authorities work to build their case. Holding the top of his jacket, whispering in it, "I ain't gonna lie like back in the day. Oh, my check on your man. I ain't going to lie, man. Hey, when I was growing up, I remember having a dare architect who having a dare, screw down all that woofing on the net. Got your metro with the help of Jim." The prosecutors were able to line up the evidence where Lil Durk posted on Instagram for Dethang. This was posted 30 minutes after Stefan Mack passed away, alongside the Instagram story. Lil Durk also laughed the following day on an IG video. "What tweaking my folks, I always say slap con, slap con." Jim is the same man that Lil Durk gifted $50,000 to, yet he allegedly still turned his back on Durk. Trying to save himself, what's his name? Steady crying, beat him, beat him. Look bro, you see that baby? That's really how y'all hold y'all. Babies, ain't it? I got to hold my money like this. It's too much crazy though. Mother sitting up there doing all this sneak this and internet games and all this. Up some money, do something like we winning, bro. I can do whatever it is. Lil Durk's defiant attitude has always been part of his persona. In one moment, caught on video, he exclaims, "I can do what I want to do, y'all can't do that." A statement fueled by his experience and the hardships he's overcome. "How many years did I do? 12, he says, referring to the time he spent dealing with the streets, the struggles, and the pressure. Despite the weight of his past, he remains resilient, believing he's earned the right to live life on his terms, surrounded by wealth and opportunity. However, a significant detail emerged from a video that caught the attention of the feds. In a chilling twist, investigators found people in the background of Lil Durk's Instagram Live who were seen jewelry shopping with King Von just a year before his tragic death. This connection cemented the idea that Durk, Von, and their circle were incredibly close, deepening the bond that made the tragedy even more personal. During the live, the group's camaraderie is evident, with someone off-camera checking in on Durk, saying, "Boss, you good? My boy, what's good?" In the midst of all this, a more concerning issue arose: Lil Durk's safety behind bars. News broke that Durk had been attacked in his cell block at LA County Jail. While the specifics of his injuries weren't made public, it's clear that the situation was serious enough to warrant attention. His lawyers quickly made the case that the county jail was failing to protect him, which legally they are obligated to do. As a result, there's a strong possibility that Durk will be transferred to a different facility for his own safety. But here's where things take a strange turn. Fans started noticing something odd. Quando Rondo and Lil Tim, two people closely tied to the events surrounding Durk, coincidentally released separate interviews on the exact same day and at the same hour. Some people brushed it off as a weird coincidence, but others speculated that it was part of a bigger scheme. The theory? The feds might be intentionally steering clear of targeting Quando and Lil Tim in retaliation for King Von's death, framing their actions as self-defense. Lil Tim, in an emotional interview, explained his feelings about the situation. "When I found out it was Von who did that, I thought, damn, if Von hadn't done that stupid stuff, he'd still be alive," he reflected, admitting the pain and guilt that haunted him. But Tim also made it clear that he wasn't out for clout or disrespect. A humble person by nature, he didn't want to escalate things further, despite the turmoil. "I ain't on that type of stuff," he said, distancing himself from the spectacle of online drama. If they never pushed that, this would have never happened. The narrative deepens when Quando Rondo echoes similar sentiments, reflecting on how things could have gone differently. In a heartfelt moment, he expressed, "Whoever's on my side, they got kids and a mama that loved them 100%. At the end of the day, all this drama we're talking about is pointless. It could have been handled in a totally different way. We could have settled this in a way where a song and a few $1 million could have come out of it, a legitimate way, a way that's all about the music." His words resonate with a sense of regret, highlighting how much the situation could have been avoided had different choices been made. What makes this situation even more peculiar is the timing. Both Quando Rondo and Lil Tim gave interviews, separately, yet oddly, released at the exact same time and hour. Coincidentally, this was also the same moment Lil Durk was attacked in jail. The timing suggests a deliberate attempt to distract or perhaps throw off the authorities as they tried to catch Durk off guard. But the question remains, is this enough to secure Durk's release, or is it simply part of a larger game? The timing is telling, but will it be enough to change the course of his fate?